Good afternoon, guys, and happy today Wednesday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, I got my sales papers today. I told you guys I was like nervous because they didn't come yesterday, but they did end up coming today, and it might have been just because of Veterans Day on Monday. But guys, we actually yesterday, guys, we got Disney Plus, which I have yet to actually sign into on any devices or anything. I have not signed in on my Xbox or my computer. I don't have the app on my phone. I am scared I'm going to fall into a rabbit hole if I do, because like I said, obviously it is just like a rabbit hole. And it has got so much, like, Jack has been watching stuff on his Xbox and on his like computer, and he said that he was just like, he's like, oh, I can watch Avengers, you know, the first Avengers movie while he goes to sleep. And I was like, yeah, I'm not even going to like dabble in that at all. I know if I do, I'm gonna fall into, like I said, a rabbit hole really quickly. Like, all of the old Disney Channel shows are on there. Like, guys, I used to watch Even Stevens all the time, and Lizzie McGuire, and like I can't even, they have Cadet Kelly on there too, or at least I heard they did. I didn't, like I said, I haven't actually checked officially, but I have seen some people posting some of the stuff that is on there, and I read from some of the like news sites and stuff like that what was going to be on there for like the opening and everything like that, or for launch. And so I was just like, there is so much stuff to watch on there. I'm gonna watch all of the old like TV shows, and like I am gonna get lost in it. And then, not to mention too, I was like, well, I also want to watch all of the Disney movies like literally just in order. So, you know, start with like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and move on from there. And I was like, seriously, I am, like I said, gonna just get so lost in that. But that's something that we wanted to kind of all do together. Like, Jack has not seen, honestly, guys, I kind of feel bad because Jack was born in that weird, like, VHS weren't really a thing anymore, kind of, sort of, you know, it's kind of DVDs. But the thing was, we didn't have like all of the Disney movies on DVDs. We literally had every VHS, you know, every Disney movie on VHS. Like, I think the only ones we didn't have was, I remember I didn't see Aladdin a lot when I was little because I don't think we had that. And there was maybe like one or two other ones that we didn't have that I couldn't watch on like repeats, like literally all of the time. Cinderella was a huge one. I watched that one all the time. I watched The Little Mermaid all the time. Like, we had like Sword in the Stone, you know, 101 Dalmatians. We got Lion King when I was a little bit older. Like, it wasn't when I was like super little, but again, like, just all of the movies, like, guys, seriously, how is it, like, they're all on there. So I, like I said, am gonna just be in a rabbit hole when I start watching them. But like I said, I feel bad because Jack was kind of in that in-between where we ended up getting rid of, or maybe, I think our VHS player broke one of them, like the one that we had in the living room. We had another one that was kind of just like an extra VHS player that we had in like other people's rooms to watch, like, you know, VHS tapes and stuff like that. And because I know Matthew's old TV could only play like VHS tapes. For some reason it couldn't hook up to a DVD player because it was like literally that old. I'm not even kidding, guys. So when I was little, I had a tube TV, you know, a little one of those like little ones that had the DVD player built into it, you know, that you could literally like kind of pick up from the back side, but it was still like big and heavy and bulky and stuff like that. So I had one of those, and then in my room, and then we had like a bigger one that was in our living room, and then we had another one that was the same size when my grandma moved in, that was my great-grandparents, actually, that again was like a tube TV. But honestly, we had those TVs since I was born. Like, those were the first TVs that, like, that was the first TV my parents bought, and they had it since I was little. And it was the one then that we ended up having in the living room for the longest time, and then almost the exact same TV, but it was just like, it was the exact same size, just probably a different brand that my great-grandparents had, like, and then my grandma had when she lived in their condo, and then when she moved in, it was upstairs, because my grandma like never used TV and never watched anything or anything like that, like almost at all. So again, this was probably like early 2000s that we still had like giant tube TVs in our house. And so those two, and then Matthew, because he wanted to watch, you know, stuff when he was little, which we had like a DVD player with a VHS player in it that was in our living room, and then I think the other VHS player, maybe we had one upstairs with the DVD player that was like separate, and then Matthew had a VHS player in his room because he used to watch the Ninja Turtles movies all the time when he would fall asleep. And so he had, like, it was also a tube TV. I don't know how old it was, but it was one of the ones that literally had the dial that you could change the, like, the setting on, you know, or not the setting, but you could change the, it literally had an on-off button that you pushed and it popped out. It was like an actual button, and then it had, and that I think controlled the volume as well. And then I honestly, guys, I think it's still actually out in the garage. I don't think my dad got rid of it. And then it had the dial that would change the channels basically, and there was another one underneath that I don't know what it changed to. Like, it might have changed like something else, but we never used that one. I think it normally stayed on channel 2, that was like the input that we could run a VHS player into, and so Matthew always got to watch like his Ninja Turtles movies before he'd go to bed in his room. And this was again like early 2000s, like Jack was probably born, and like I think it was honestly between like, I think maybe it was like 2004 to like whenever he ended up getting rid of it, like 2010 or something like that. Like, I think honestly he did end up getting, no, I don't want to say it was 2010, probably like 2008, 7, 8 maybe, or something like that, because I think it was after I was in middle school, because that's when I got my TV, which was again the TV that had the DVD player in it. And then he ended up getting one which was the same size, like one of those, again, little TVs, but it was black and it didn't have like a DVD player in it. That is, I think they actually, honestly, I think him and Jack still use it upstairs sometimes if one of them is using the TV upstairs and the other one wants to play like on the 360, because you can still plug the 360 in, because it doesn't, but the thing is that TV doesn't have an HDMI port, so it just has like the, like, you know, whatever those 3 little cord thingies that you plug in, the red, is it red, yellow, and white, or whatever it is that you plug in. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's for like the video in and out and sound in, or whatever it is, or sound out, or whatever. So yeah, anyways, but I think they still have that TV upstairs, or maybe they just got rid of it, like honestly this summer, I think, because it was sitting in the living room for a while. My dad for some reason has been hoarding televisions, old TVs out in the garage that are still out there that he's trying to get rid of, but like nobody takes them anymore, and he's tried to like take them to like a junk place or like a recycle place, and like literally nobody is taking them. So they're just sitting out in our garage. We don't know what to do with them. And so one of them, my dad uses my old one, which the DVD player doesn't work on it anymore, just because it is kind of old and I probably ruined it by doing something. But he uses it sometimes because we do have another like DVD player that he plugs into it, and sometimes watches like P90X out in the garage that he will use it for sometimes. But I think it honestly hasn't been used in a really long time because he stopped doing that a while ago. So anyways, though, but I totally forgot where I was going with this whole thing. Oh, about the VHS players. So honestly, it was probably around the time I was like in middle school or something like that, which again was 2008. I started middle school, I think, that we probably, like, I'd say even when I was in middle school, though, I probably stopped watching like the Disney movies. Like, we didn't watch them as often. Like, every once in a while I might be like, hey, like, let's put this movie on or whatever. But I remember, like, honestly, like those few years, the first like few years that we lived in this house, from like 2000 and moved in here in 2001, I think, up until probably like 2007 or something like that. So like probably for a good 6 or 7 years or whatever it would have been, 5, 6, 7 years, that I like literally would watch Disney movies like on repeat. And like me and Matthew would too. Like we'd spend just the entire day, like we'd just sit, like on a Saturday we'd just sit in the living room and we'd just be like, oh, which movie do you want to watch next? And like I'd pick one and then he'd pick one and then I'd pick one and then he'd pick the next one, and it'd just keep going off, and we'd sit in there sometimes and just watch Disney movies like all day. And like I have some of them memorized still by heart. And like, you know, Jack again wasn't really around like when he was growing up. Like he was born 2005, so you figure again it was only like a year or two after that, and even that first year or two he's not going to really remember any of them. So it's kind of after that. And then I think again maybe when I was around middle school age was when my mom ended up getting rid of the VHS player, because I think the thing was the VHS player still worked, but it was a VHS DVD player like combined, and the DVD player stopped working. So my mom just wanted to get rid of it because it was big and bulky, and we also had a huge like like this old fashioned, which again like when I was little it was probably very, very popular, but like old like sound system, surround sound thing. And they had it hooked up to a cassette player too. So there was like all these like big bulky, you guys know what like a VHS player looked like those, but there was like 4 of them stacked on top of this like shelf thing in by our TV and stuff like that. And so it just, and I mean obviously the weight of that television too. We had like a, you know, a TV, you know, like cupboard thingy sort of that was like dipping in, and like the whole shelf was like bowing in because it was so heavy because of all the stuff that was just on it and stuff like that. And so my parents were like, it's probably time to upgrade, get a new TV, get a new, you know, just like upgrade and everything like that. And that's when we ended up getting the TV that's in the living room, which is the one we still have. And that was again probably around the time they all started updating. You know, my parents were finally like, let's upgrade our get into the modern era now, which probably around the time I was in middle school. So again, Jack was only like 4 or 5 years old. That was kind of like for me even too was like the prime, like when I really started like watching like the Disney movies, and you know I could put them in the VHS player myself and rewind and watch them and all that kind of stuff. And so I would watch them, you know, all the time when I was little. Just because I could figure out how to do it. And so like, you know, by that time we didn't have that, and Jack really didn't watch that, you know, anymore, because we didn't have those. So that's why I feel like bad, like he didn't really get that whole era where he got to like watch those Disney movies and really like bond with them as a kid. But for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like Cinderella, like I honestly remember rewatching like just the beginning, like, you know, the part where like the parts where she was singing, I would rewind those and watch them like 80 times just so that I could sing along like with the songs and stuff like that. And you know, like I said, my mom used to put on Little Mermaid for me all the time, because apparently when I was really little, like that was my favorite movie. I used to sing along to it all the time. But then as I started to get a little older again, like probably about, you know, again the time I could really start putting movies in myself, I always seemed to have chosen Cinderella to watch. So my tie between my 2 favorite princess movies are Cinderella and Little Mermaid. And Little Mermaid 2, I think, was the first movie my parents took me to go see when I was in theaters when I was little. So yeah, that's why, guys, like those, just like some of those things are like so, you know, like important, and just like have such good memories of like when you're a kid and stuff like that. I honestly think the first movie Jack went to go see in theaters was Kung Fu Panda. So, and I think Matthew's was, honestly, I don't know what Matthew's was. I want to say it was the Tigger movie, but I think that was the movie my parents took me to go see right before Matthew was born, as like the last, like just the 3 of us kind of thing. But I can't remember, or it was the first movie he went to go see when he was like little in theaters. I can't remember. I don't actually know what Matthew's first movie was. But it's weird. Like I said, I can remember mine. I remember Jack's just because I remember he just kept like running. Like we were sitting in like this really weird, like the aisle seats. Okay, so in our old movie theater, before they got the new chairs and everything like that, you know, the reclining ones, they used to just have it where there was literally, it was the main aisles where you could sit in like the main movie theater, but then they had like along the side of like the walkway, sometimes there'd be like a random like 2 seats all the way up, and it'd just only be like 2 seats, but not just like in one spot, like it was a handicap spot. It would literally go all the way up to the top, just on the one side of like, you know, next to the wall. It was really weird. And so I remember those were like the only seats open for that movie. So like, I think it was like me and Matthew sat in one, and then my dad and my mom sat in the other one, and then Jack just kept like walking down to like us, and then back up, and then down, and then back up, and was like sitting, or maybe it was like 3 seats or something like that. But it was really weird. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know why, and it was right next to the wall too. So I just remember like he was like obviously probably being a nuisance to a lot of people. But I just remember he just would walk down there, and he like sit with us for like a few minutes, and then he go sit back up with my parents, and then he goes come sit back down with us. And yeah, I just remember him, I remember him annoying me. I can't imagine what he was annoying like other people that were in the movie theater. But that might have been why my parents wanted to like sit off to the side away from everybody else. So yeah, guys, but like I said, I have not even like decided to even try and get into that yet. Downloading the app on my Xbox, or like signing in on my computer or anything like that, or downloading the app. I honestly don't really watch stuff on my phone, like really at all. I don't have Netflix, I don't have Hulu, Amazon, nothing on my phone. I don't watch literally anything on my phone other than like Insta stories and like, you know, that kind of stuff, Snapchat stories and stuff like that. I literally don't watch any of that stuff on my phone. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and watch Netflix. Like, I would do that in my room doing somewhere else, like, you know, on my TV or something. The only thing is that I am like, I don't know about, because my TV is, it has like the smart cast, and since it is a smart TV, it came with the apps already downloaded onto it, and I can cast it onto my TV, but I don't know if it's going to have a Disney Plus app on there. I don't know if it like does updates and stuff like that. Again, I haven't had it long enough, and I haven't used a smart TV before, so I don't know how it would work. But I don't know if it'll update and like give me that app, because that would be super helpful and super amazing. I'd love that. So I don't have to download it onto my Xbox or try and cast it every single time that I do want to watch it. So I can just watch it straight off my TV and not have to turn my Xbox on or whatever else to watch through it, because I haven't had to do that. I've been watching Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime and stuff like that on my TV without having to have my Xbox on, because I have my smart TV, which is awesome, but I just don't know how that would work. Like I said, from that, I don't know if they would add that app, or, you know, because it is a pretty popular app, or what would happen. So I have to, like I said, figure that out, because you can't add apps to the TV since it is a smart TV. I guess if it was like, I think if you had like a, what would that be then, Chromecast or whatever it is, then I think you can download the apps maybe, but since it's already on the TV, it's the ones that are already preset with the TV, you can't, I think. I don't know, like I said, I have to figure out more, but from what I read about the TV, that's how it works. So it would kind of stink. I would hope that it would like go through an update, because I think it does update, but I don't, like I said, I really don't know how it works. So I'm just gonna see if it's on there. If not, I'm just gonna use it off my Xbox, which isn't a huge big deal, but like I said, it's been 2 days now, and I've been like, I kind of want to watch something, and then I'm like, no, I shouldn't, I really shouldn't. I'll just stick to watching, like, I'm trying to finish The Office, guys. I think I said that already. I'm on like the last season of The Office, because I think it's supposed to leave Netflix, I think this year or something. So anyways, though, guys, I've talked enough. I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.